Salvador. This is Alan Cockrell with ABC, former hitting coach with the Colorado Rockies and the Seattle Mariners. I'm going to take a look at your video this morning. I want to thank you for coming to our camp. I've looked at your video and I see a lot of good things here. One of the first things I always pay attention to is just making sure that we're in a good athletic setup position. Knees are inside the feet and the head, inside the knees. We've got good athletic bend in both knees. You're in a real good position right there. The next phase that we're going to go into is the load up phase. And when you load, we can see here you're loading into the inner part of that back thigh, and that's a real good position to be in. The other thing that we take a look at is to make sure that we have good equal bend in both knees again. All right, we're a little bit stiff with that front leg. Okay. We want to try to get as much bend in the front knee as we do in the back knee, so that we have something to transfer our weight into. So that's a big thing that I look for. The other thing I look for is to make sure that our hips are staying square to home plate. Okay, we got a little bit of leak with the front hip, just a little bit. That's just going to make it tough to handle pitches on the outer half of the plate. And the other thing that I look at, the biggest thing that I look at, is when this back heel hits on the ground. And that is when we are fully loaded and ready to start our move into the ball. So when that back heel hits, here's one of the biggest things I look for. I want to make sure that we're in position to handle strike zone, particularly the outer half. And I want to make sure my hitters are 45 degrees or less with this stride foot. As you can see here, you're at, I think it's 60 degrees. So we're a little bit open with that stride foot, and what that does is it just causes a little bit of a leak with the front hip. Makes it very difficult to stay on pitches that are outer half, outer third, or any type of breaking balls from right-handers that'll be moving away from us. So that would be one thing that we could kind of clean up with you a little bit, is just get the stride foot more 45-degree angle as opposed to having it as open as it is. Okay, but your swing, you get an inner half pitch here, and you get a tremendous transfer of weight with your back knee to the inner part of this front thigh. That's outstanding. As your hands start to come forward, the first thing that drops, the elbow drops down into this rib cage slot, and then we're going to get a good connection with the shoulder, this elbow, and the back hip. And now your hands are going to start to work in front of your body, and that's outstanding. You can see here the hands are starting to work in front of the body. Hands clear the body, and now we're going to deliver the bat to contact. We get to contact. I see a really good palm up, strong position with your hands. I see head and eyes are looking right down the barrel of the bat at contact. It couldn't be any better than that. I think it's important for you to know that as soon as your head and eyes come up out of the hitting area to follow the flight of the ball, that's the direction that the barrel of the bat's going to go as well. So one of the things that I really emphasize to all my hitters is that we get into practicing the good habit of keeping our head and eyes in the hitting zone for at least one count past contact. That way we make sure that we finish our swing, we get the good extension, and we stay through that ball. As you can see here, you're starting to get really good extension. The barrel of your bat is going to be facing the pitcher, and your head and eyes are still right down here in the hitting area. So that's really, really good. That's something that is tough to discipline yourself to do, and you do a really good job of that. We get a nice full high arc finish. Everything looks really, really good. The only suggestion that I would make to you is we're going to take it back to the load position, and when this back heel plants into the ground right here, when that gets down right there, what we want to make sure is that our stride foot is at a 45-degree angle instead of as open as it is right here with you. I think it was at 60. So we want to try to get that squared up a little bit more, and then we're just going to do a lot of tee work and work on pitches that are outer half, outer third, and feel how you can get that same bat speed and that same extension, staying through that ball that's on the outer half and outer third of the plate. And as I mentioned earlier, the pitchers, as you start to get a little bit older, will get a little bit better command of their fastballs. They'll start staying out there. they'll start throwing some breaking balls, and we need to be able to cover that and stay on that. So that's the biggest thing right there, is not letting this stride foot open up beyond 45 degrees. Okay, that's going to keep our hips square, and that's going to keep this front hip from wanting to leak open just a little bit too quickly. Okay, what causes that? I mean, there's a few things that cause that. One of the biggest things that causes us to want to open up our front side or open up our stride foot a little bit too early is our load. You know, we want to make sure that our load is early enough and slow enough so that I can get to a good squared up position with my hips square, my foot at a 45. And I'm not a big advocate of putting the foot down really, really early like some people are, but I do think that our foot definitely has to be down before we start our swing, and it needs to be squared up at a 45 or less than, as opposed to being open and even taking the chance of having any type of leak with that front hip. Okay, so let's set a tee on the outer half of the plate, outer third of the plate. Let's work on staying on that ball with our stride foot and our front hip, and then put your swing on it. I think you have a beautiful swing. I think you do a good job of transferring your weight into your front side. You do it the correct way. You drive that back knee into this front leg right here, and your hands work forward very, very nice. So do a lot of things really, really well. I think this one thing will help you as you start to get a little bit older and you start to play a little bit higher level or a little stiffer competition, and pitchers are able to command the ball just a little bit better. So this would be one thing that will help you. Bang that ball into the right side of the cage, or if you're on the field, you know, line drives through the second baseman, line drives into right center. And let's just get the feel of staying on that ball with our front side, mainly the stride foot and that front hip. Okay, bud? Hey, I want to thank you for coming to our camp, and keep working. You're doing a lot of good things. You got a real nice stroke. So best